Hey guys, it's Ken here from shop3d.ca, and today I have a special guest with me. That, of course, is the Bambu X1E. Oh yeah, Jackie's here as well. We're very happy to introduce the Bambu Labs brand to Shop3D, and this is their flagship printer. It's only exclusive to resellers, so Jackie's going to tell us all about it. Jackie, how easy is this printer to set up right out of the box?
Yeah, super easy. It comes fully assembled. You have to put some of the tubes in, and the AMS will be inside the printer, so you'll have to obviously take that out. But in general, there's nothing you really have to assemble or set up besides just the basic unboxing. You'll have it up and running within like 10 minutes.
Looking at the X1E, it looks actually very similar to the X1C. Can you start off with some of the differences on the get-go of the printer?
Yeah, so they're actually both very similar from the onset. So you can notice that the color is a little bit different, and it says X1E, but the really important stuff is on the inside of the machine.
So we got the X1C, we know stands for carbon. What does the X1E stand for?
The X1E stands for the Enterprise series. So all of the feature sets will be much more enterprise focused. Yeah, so this is a FFF printer. It uses 1.75 filament, and it's a Cartesian-based printer, so the print head rides on X and Y, and it runs on carbon rods. This is the AMS, the Automated Material System. So this feature is available for both the X1C and the X1E, and it comes as a bundle for the X1E, and then for the X1C, it's an option, but it also comes as a bundle as well. So the major feature is that you can use 4 filaments at once, so you can create multicolor prints. So you can have up to 4 colors, you can use support material, and you can also use it to change materials. When you run out of one material, it'll automatically switch to the next one. It also keeps the filament in a dehydrated state where you put desiccant in it, and it will keep it at the optimal moisture level.
With 1.75 millimeter filament, there's lots of options. What are we printing with this printer?
Yeah, because this printer goes up to 320 degrees, you can print any of the plastics under 320. So that's TPU, PLA, carbon fiber, ABS, ASA, engineering materials with less warping and just more dimensional stability overall.
I see that when I open the door, it's actually a single extruder, single head printer. So how do we get 4 different filaments printing at the same time?
Yeah, exactly. So the AMS manages the unloading and the loading of the different materials whenever it needs it. So that's exactly how we can get 4 colors out of one nozzle. In fact, you can actually add another AMS on it if you wanted 8 colors or 16 colors. So whether you're using support, PLA, carbon fiber nylon, they pretty much all work the same. You put them in and then you feed them into the slot, and the machine will automatically uptake them and load them into the printer as it needs it.
And I think if you're using Bambu filament, it has an RFID, so it'll detect what material it is and load that profile automatically. But you can also use third-party materials. What limitations do we have using third-party materials and third-party material spool types?
Yeah, so if you're choosing third-party materials, you can totally do that for the system, and it doesn't stop you in any way. Even though it uses RFID for Bambu materials, you can use third-party materials by just selecting what you want on the screen. That's the major difference. There is one limitation that you have to be careful of. If the spool is too wide, or if it uses a cardboard spool, then what can happen is, because it loads it constantly when it switches materials, it can fray the spool, and we do not recommend the weaker paper spools on the AMS system. So for those ones, we usually recommend you either go with the Bambu spools, the ones that come with plastic, or you can choose to print a shoe for your paper spools so that they don't fray during the printing process.
So talking about good refill filament, we know some of our eSun filament has cardboard spools, but what would you recommend as a filament that would be great pairing for the X1E?
Yeah, so I would say the BASF Pro 1 specifically is a very good pairing for the X1E and the X1C, primarily because that material is made for high-speed printing. So when you're running it at 300 millimeter per second, you can ensure that the layer bonding is good and the feeding is good. So we've used that on all our high-speed printers, and we've had really great success. So if you need a good general material to use, good strong plastic, BASF Pro 1 would be my recommendation.
Yeah, and because of that purpose and Jackie's recommendation, we've actually made sure that there's a 10% discount if you're buying Pro 1 along with your Bambu. So make sure you use that coupon code to get your extra discount off your Pro 1 filament. I know there's some wonderful features with this printer that are maybe not available with some other brands. Can you tell me about the Lidar feature and the air filter?
Yeah, so the really cool thing is on the print head, there's a Lidar scanner. So before each print, not only does it do the auto bed leveling, it uses Lidar to print a line, and it will detect the flow rate so that it makes sure that your first layer is always good and the consistency of the rest of the layers is flowing very well. It also has a webcam on the side that can do AI detection. So if you get a spaghetti failure, it will detect that and pause your print so you can correct it or cancel your print so you're not wasting filament. And it ensures that the mess doesn't get worse, if you have a run out over time.
Those are some really great features, especially in the early layers where that failure might happen.
Exactly. If you have a spaghetti failure in the beginning and then you let that print for 13 hours, that's a lot of wasted filament, and it could clog the nozzle. It could create a bigger mess overall. So the spaghetti detection is a very welcome feature.
Now, if it does detect an error, what happens after that?
Yeah, what happens it will stop the print, it will pause the print so that it will allow you to correct the issue. If it's unrecoverable, if you see that it's gone too far and there's too much spaghetti everywhere and your print's gonna be useless because it's not gonna be strong, then you can choose to cancel the print or continue.
Yeah, I see that the head is magnetic here, and you can kind of take that off, and I see the hot end. But can you tell me about what kind of hot end options we can put in the X1E?
Yeah, good question. So it comes with a hardened steel nozzle already, so all of the nozzles for the X1E is carbon fiber compatible. So you can swap this out for a 0.6 or a 0.8 option if you want to print either faster or larger layers. So they're relatively easy to change out, but I have to note that they are not compatible with the X1C. The design is a little bit different, so the X1C and the X1E uses different hot ends.
Got it. And in terms of the package for what it comes with, I know there are slightly different bundles, and the X1E automatically comes with the AMS, but can you tell me, some of the differences that you're going to get between the X1C bundle and the X1E bundle?
Yeah, so for the X1C, it is an option to get the AMS, but if you get them both as bundles, the only major difference would be what filament comes with the printer initially. So in the X1C, you will get a PLA carbon fiber, and a PLA support. On the X1E, you will get PA support, which is nylon, and you will also get a high temperature nylon carbon fiber and a PLA carbon fiber. So it is geared more for the industrial materials. So the materials that it comes with starts you off at a more engineering industrial scale.
In terms of options for the build plate, I see that we had a custom one here. That is a dual-sided textured PEI plate. But what does the X1E come with, and what options do we have for different build plates?
Yeah, the X1E comes with the smooth plate. It has the cool plate on one side and the engineering material on the other side. So quite different than that one, although that is an option that you can use for the X1E. If you like the textured plate, you can also get that one as well, and then use that with your X1E.
So what exactly is the difference between the textured and the smooth plate?
There's not a lot of difference overall. In terms of usage, it's exactly the same. There's nothing you really have to do on your end. The major difference is just the underside of the print. If you prefer a textured print, you would use the textured plate. And if you prefer a more smooth finish on the bottom of your part, then you would use the smooth plate.
Yes, and so this is a heated bed. Do you know how hot the bed and the head can go to in terms of temperature?
So that's another thing where the X1E is a little bit different. The temperature of the nozzle goes up to 320, whereas the X1C, it can only go up to 300. So it is more geared towards the higher temperature materials like nylon, carbon fiber, and ABS-like materials.
So Jackie, looking through this printer, I see something that's not really common with other printers, and that's kind of like this feed area that leads out of the printer. Why do we have that?
Yeah, so that's a really important part about multicolor printing. So what happens during multicolor printing is when it switches from one material to the next, there's an in-between section where we have to discard it because we don't want to end up in the print where it has all these multicolor in-between materials that we don't anticipate. So in order to get rid of those, it gets extracted through the back. So one of the first prints that we recommend people do is the chute. And the waste chute basically goes on the back of the printer here, and all of the excess material will be, nicely extracted from here.
Yeah, into that chute. Now, if we didn't have that, it would probably just go all over the place behind the printer.
It would, yeah. It would make, it would just kind of collect at the back of your printer, but at least it's not in your print and it's not in your printer. That could build up over time.
That's great. Now let's talk about some of the other features that this printer has, because this printer has been very popular with us. Why do people love it so much?
Yeah, the biggest thing about Bambu Labs and the greatest thing I would say is the speed. Its amazing reliability in terms of how fast it can print is the #1 reason I think it's so popular right now.
So even if with the AMS, we're still getting higher speeds than some other printers out there.
Exactly, and who doesn't want to print faster, prototype faster? You can do a lot more parts all at once. So speed is sort of the biggest base level thing that you can have. And then multicolor is sort of just gravy on top.
Now, if you're not familiar with the Bambu ecosystem, let's say you come from another brand or you're just looking for your printer for the first time, what can we expect from the Bambu software?
The Bambu software is very good. It is cloud-based and it's very similar to all the other slicers that you may have used. So you can do all the basic tasks of scaling and moving your parts around, arranging it on your bed. So all of those tools and functionalities there, you can edit all of the settings, the infill, the wall parameters, so you can dive deep into the settings that you're used to working with. The major difference is it does have cloud access, and it also has features specifically for the AMS where you can select colors for your parts. So they make this really intuitive where you can just select portions of your print to have different colors, and it's a really easy and intuitive process to color your parts.
Amazing. And you actually brought up a good point about cloud printing and so forth. This is the X1E version. What kind of additional connectivity features do we have with the E that we don't have with the X1C?
Yeah, so the major difference and why it's called the enterprise version is because it has enterprise protocols. So for the X1C, that's usually used on the cloud base. You can also use the SD card, but on the X1E, there's enterprise protocols for the network. So if you have more secure networks or your requirement for your enterprise systems require that level of security, you can use the WPA2 enterprise protocols in order to connect to your network. It also has an RJ45 connector, which is not available on the X1C. And then one last crazy feature is that there is a physical switch to turn off all of the network connectivity. So if you're in an environment where you cannot have network connectivity because of security reasons or defense patents or anything like that, you can physically turn off all of those features on a switch. So it's physically impossible for it to connect to networks that you don't intend it to.
That's great. I think Bambu really listened to the needs of enterprise customers and built those features into this printer. Now, if I were to sum up, can I ask you, since this is a newer brand with Shop 3D, what are your experiences with printing with this printer?
Yeah, my experience has been amazing. This is one of the very few printers that has a heated chamber. So we're used to printing parts where they tend to warp around the corners, and the 60-degree heated chamber really makes that easy. And of course, the fast printing speed, that's the biggest thing everybody looks for, and that's the biggest change that I would say the Bambu offers compared to some of the other printers is you can just get parts a lot faster. And then the automated systems where it does the bed leveling and it does the Lidar sensor just makes everything easy. So printing fast really easily is my favorite thing about the Bambu.
And if I were to say, hey, we love both the X1C and X1E because they are so similar but for slightly different niches, can I ask you, who would you recommend get the X1C and who would you recommend get the X1E?
Yeah, so the X1C, I would say, would be the default option. I think X1C is amazing for almost everybody. It has a full, complete feature set. It has upgradability for adding the AMS. So whether you're doing small parts, prototyping, or fun multicolored parts, the X1C kind of fits everybody, and it has carbon fiber capability built right in, so you can print almost any material on the market. already, so that's already a really great option. The enterprise version I would suggest for more professional customers where they're printing in environments where it requires the higher level of security. But also if you're usually printing ABS or nylon or any of the heavier engineering materials, I would definitely lean towards the enterprise version strictly because of the heated chamber. That makes that process so much easier, so much more reliable. Your parts come out stronger. So even if you just print ABS for the most part, I would suggest you go to the enterprise version just for the heated chamber.
Amazing. And what kind of industries would benefit most from getting the enterprise version versus the current version?
Yeah, so defense industries are gonna definitely want the enterprise versions if they have requirements for security and taking out the Wi-Fi connection. That's an easy step. It's just 2 buttons that you open the panel and then you can disable the Wi-Fi connectivity. That's gonna be really important for your defense, aerospace contractors, and also companies in which proprietary information is very important. That added level of security is just essential for a printer choice. So you may not even be able to choose the carbon printer if you have that level of requirement for security.
Amazing. And if I can sum it off, you know, the X1E is only available to resellers of Bambu. So you can get it at Shop 3D, and you'll probably need to pre-order because this is a very popular printer at the moment. But can you tell me what is the difference? You know, why is it only available to enterprise resellers like us, you know, versus just on the Bambu website?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the X1C is great for everybody, so that's widely available in multiple channels. But since the X1E is meant for enterprise customers, we can offer a high level of support. And you know, having them accessible locally is usually also a requirement for enterprise customers where they can get Canadian support and make sure that they can get all the parts and support in one local place. So that's why there's a higher focus on having it sold as a reseller.
Yes, so if you get it from shop3d.ca, of course you get our renowned, you know, support directly from our team here in Canadian dollars. We quote in Canadian dollars. And not only that, but we also ensure that the X1E and X1C is certified for Canadian CSA and ESA standards so that you don't have to worry when you have this in your facility. So Jackie, to sum it off, and I'm gonna talk about the limitations. If you had to say one or a couple of limitations of the X1E, what would that be?
The major limitation would probably be the bed size. So it prints at 256 cubed, which is fairly large, but I would say some customers may have a requirement for larger parts, so you will have to break your part up into multiple pieces. So I would say that's probably the biggest drawback. I wouldn't say drawback, but just in terms of what you're doing, it may not fit if you want really large prints. You may need to break it up. So that may not be as efficient.
And if for those customers who want to do production on this printer, do you think this is a good printer for that purpose?
I would think so. Because it prints so fast and you can print in engineering grade materials, this is a great production printer. You can just get a whole bunch of them and then run them as a fleet. The software offers very good control over multiple printers. You can view the webcam as you're printing. It has failure detection. So it has all of the features that is available for running like a production print farm type of effect. And because it's all enclosed and is very stable, the repeatability is very high. So it has all the features that are required for production operations.
Fantastic. So that about sums it up for the X1E. It's exclusive to resellers, so you can't get it on the Bambu website, but you can get it from us at shop3d.ca. So make sure you reach out to our team if you have any questions, and we'd be happy to answer them. But you might have to pre-order this printer because quantities are extremely limited. We're seeing these fly out the door. So make sure you contact us and reserve your unit today. So that's it from Ken and Jackie. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, stay tuned.